I love the names on this team. They have Sixto Sanchez, and they have my favorite name probably in baseball right now, Jazz Chisholm.
Showing emotion in baseball is terrible and should never be in the game.
It's weird how the dynamic works between sports.
But to win a championship, not only do you need great players on the court, but you need good chemistry, which takes time to develop.
Justin Fields is a all-time talent.
Corey Perry will give some veteran presence to the Canadians.
I feel like Luka will take that next step, and if he can get a three ball consistently around 35%, I feel like they could become a contender.
We can make jokes about you not being in the Super Bowl for 20-something years, but...
What's up, everyone? This is Justin Goldman from the Goalie Guild and Lift the Mask, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Austin and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NHL Opinions of the Week. You know, it's been a little bit, but the man that I'm saucering this opinion to, Austin.
I'm surprised Kevin knew what that meant, so I'll give you credit for that.
Do you want to know how I know that?
I guess story time with Kevin. Tell us.
Yeah, I guess NHL R2. I believe that's how you saucer a pass.
It is. Or R2's had a pass.
R2's had a pass. All right. Well, there's a button where you saucer. I haven't played NHL in a while, but it came to me. So there's our story time with Kevin. Now on to coaching changes.
Yeah, so the Edmonton Oilers obviously fired Jay Woodcroft earlier in the year after a win, but it was really because of a loss to San Jose that this happened. And the Ottawa Senators just fired DJ Smith and are hiring a new coach. So we'll kind of talk about, Kevin, these Oilers are playing a lot better recently.
Yes, that was something. So Chris Knoblauch, Oilers are currently on a 2-game losing streak, but Knoblauch has taken his team to 10 wins and 5 losses, 0 overtime losses. So that's pretty surprising. And Ottawa DJ Smith had an 11-15 record. So they did also no overtime losses, and the Ottawa Senators, I believe, currently have trying to see. I know they're on a losing streak, but it's just how long?
Ottawa?
Yeah.
They have lost 4 straight.
They've lost 4 straight. And they're a young team that performed really well last season. I think they were a surprising team, at least for me. I think you were high on them this year.
I thought they'd be much better, but that hasn't been the case. Edmonton, though, is still, going back to them really quickly, they're still 5 points out of a playoff spot, and they played 2 less games than Arizona, who's in that playoff spot. But when you go point percentage, Arizona still has a pretty big lead when you look at the 533 points percentage versus the 42 that Edmonton has. So while they are turning it around, they still have a long way to go.
Yeah, like they were in a pretty bad spot when they did the firing. So they have gotten better, but they dug a pretty big hole for themselves in this. So my thing is just how is it too early to tell if firing Woodcroft was a good decision?
I think it's too early.
Okay.
You did mention that they went on a 7-game win streak. It was actually an 8-game win streak that they went on before they eventually lost the last 2 games. But we have to wait. 15 games is not enough, I feel like, especially with a new head coach who has to implement his strategies, and health is a factor and a lot of other things. We also have to see how the trade deadline affects this, how the moves they make will impact how he is doing as a coach. But he's definitely done well. I don't think we can say this early that the move was bad, but I think it is too early to say that it was good.
Okay. Yeah, and I think they still have the same problems, and you talked about, yeah, it's too early. You make a lot of good points about, is it too early to tell? Because he hasn't implemented his system. Because I believe they still have the core issues. They still have goaltending. They gave up 7 points and 5 points in their previous 2 losses, and that was to the Panthers and Lightning. So I think there are still core issues, but maybe for morale's sake or just a new voice bringing new energy to it, just changing something may have done short-term effects. But the Oilers are a team where I think their goals are set on making it to the Stanley Cup, at least the Western Conference Finals.
I think it has to be the Cup. They made it to the Western Conference Finals already, not last year, but the year before that. So their goals are greater than that. While the Senators and their new coach, I think the goal is just to get close to a playoff spot, contending for a playoff spot, because right now they are last in their division. And when you compare them to all the other teams in the Eastern Conference, they are second to last. So they're the second worst team in their conference, the worst in their division. So I don't think the coach there is expected to get them into the playoffs, but they are expected to contend for a playoff spot, which they are obviously not doing right now.
Yeah, I think I like how you compared the two teams. Oilers, their goals are set on the ultimate prize, the Stanley Cup. Ottawa, to me, I think just wants to continue to take a step forward. Like they
Yeah.
were close to a playoff spot, I believe, and they just want to keep going because they've taken a step back. It is early, but you can say they've taken a step back from where they were.
Yeah, they weren't that close to a playoff spot. They were 6 points out. I guess that's kind of close, but they were still a little bit away. But this year they're not even close to contending. So they definitely want just to be close and just like you said, continue progression forward with their young guys because it really has been a disappointing year for them.
Yeah, and I believe they have I know Sanderson on defense, and there's another young guy as well that signed long contracts, and so that's a key thing for them. Edmonton, I'm very curious on how they go. Ottawa, I think too. It's great to have up and coming teams. This is also a team that got new ownership, or did that never get finalized?
They did get new
Okay, they
ownership,
did.
I believe.
Okay, so the new owner is choosing his own coach. I know DJ Smith. This was his final year, so he's definitely not coming back. But they don't lose. It wasn't a long-term contract, so maybe they're just gonna start planning for next year's coach, and maybe the interim can do that. I'm wondering. There are still a few good coaches out there, right? Or I may be thinking of the NBA,
Yeah, there's
NHL.
still a few out there.
So we'll have to see. But yeah, I think Ottawa and Edmonton, even though they are in Canada, have some differences. But I think time will tell if it was the right decision to move on from both their coaches. Edmonton's a little bit farther along than Ottawa, but I think it was a nice comparison to see, okay, this is what Edmonton did. It's worked out in the short term. Ottawa is hoping for that as well.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
And that's all I got. I'll toss this over to you for your final thoughts and closing it out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Do you guys like the new hire in Edmonton? Do you guys think it'll work out long term? And what do you guys think about the Ottawa hire?